What's going on, everybody? My name is Phen, and welcome to my den, and today we're going to be talking about the most toxic video games out now, and that ever was, at least from what I've experienced. Now, before we jump in, this isn't going to be a crazy in-depth reason why each and every one of these are toxic. If the community's toxic, everyone has the same generalization of what toxicity is. You know, they're either using like racial slurs, sexual harassment, just outright bullying if you're bad at the game. Typically tries to keep the new guys out of the game and just leaves it to the veterans. Jumping right into it, the first one I'm just going to knock right out of the way because it's the one that's going to come to your head first, and I'm just going to shove it to the front. Is Modern Warfare 2. Do I even really have to explain this one? Like, actually, do I have to explain it? Because if you were a kid from age 13 to 8 in, like, you know, the year that it came out, in like, what was it, 2007, 2008, something like that, you already know what I'm talking about. You had high schoolers talking about how they banged your mom every lobby, and there was probably the hard R used every 30 seconds. And it was just it was an outright great time. It was an experience that you'll never forget. If you didn't get bullied in school, you sure did after school when you threw on that 360 headset with the foamy ear and the bad mic and people blasting rap while people swore at you and told them how they were your dad because they banged your mom 8 years ago.
I'm gonna go reset my internet. Now, I'm calling out Nasty because he...
Would I change it for anything? Absolutely not. I look at those memories fondly, and I have a good laugh every time I think about those lobbies and how uncomfortable I was as an 8-year-old listening to those things. Some games aren't as fortunate as getting to hear other players actually verbally yell at you. Some are more of in-chat gamer warriors, and that brings me to our next game, which would be League of Legends. Personally, I don't have that much experience playing League. I might have like 50 to 100 hours total. Meanwhile, my friends that I do hang out with have tens of thousands of hours, have been playing for a decade, and they just can't get off the game. But because of being around these guys and hearing them complain or just discuss it, I understand how terrible the community can be and how aggro anyone can get if you don't carry your team the way that you shouldn't have to. I mean, that online battle arena is like the perfect landscape for, you know, same thing with racism, sexual harassment, other bullying. Yeah, like, it's a team-based game, and with team-based games comes the responsibility. If you f up, your whole team suffers. So it's just all the more reason you shouldn't, because not only will the other team be roasting you, but your own team will turn on you as well, and it's great morale for everybody all around. Now, one game that I wasn't planning on mentioning, however, after further review in my brain, I decided that it actually fits perfectly into a toxic community, which is old school RuneScape. Now, while there's not a massive majority of players that are toxic, I can say the small minority of people who do the toxic activities actually do something different than what all these other games are doing, which is scamming. There are countless scams you can get into, you know, from fake giving you gold cut armor to just like saying, if you give me this much money, I can give you double it, and they trick you into taking all of your money. There's really countless scams that the gamers have come up with over the years, and it really grows character. Personally, I have never been scammed on RuneScape. However, I have a lot of friends who have done scamming, and I might have also joined in on the profits of those scams. Not that I was the one who was doing it, but I had a friend who might have come across a couple mil from some kind of devious ways as a 12-year-old, and I wasn't turning down the offer to take some of it after he made a bag. So can't talk too much shit about him, but I will say there are a lot of scammers on OSRS, and that is kind of a formula of a toxic community if stealing from your neighbor is like one of the main focuses a lot of players have. Moving on, we have Overwatch, and it kind of has a similar tone to
League of Legends,
with the whole thing about being a massively team-based game, and if you mess up, your whole team's gonna hate you as long as the enemy team making fun of you, and it's not a good time for anybody, with the addition of voice chat, so you can actually hear them instead of people just typing ferociously on their keyboard, trying to come up with different ways to insult you and your mother. Overwatch is super high pressure at times, and everybody has a key role that you can't go without, whether you're the tank or a sharpshooter. It really matters. Whatever role you pick, you better know it like the front and back of your hand and carry the team, or you might have to cry yourself to sleep that night, and that's just a fact. And there's nothing that you can really do to change that. I feel like this list wouldn't be complete if I didn't talk about Halo, just in general, like 1 through Infinite. It didn't kind of introduce, it literally introduced teabagging. which is it's carried throughout all multiplayer games that are first-person shooters of crouching above your opponent and squatting up and down and making a fool of them by basically saying like, haha, my balls are on your face and you're dead because I killed you, I'm better than you. That's really the only reason I need to have to put it on this list, if I'm being honest. Granted, like, they don't have the best and happiest players. I can say that when it's competitive, and you will have a lot of nuts dragging across your forehead. That's actually caused many outrages, and I think there were even articles about how it's like sexual assault on Halo, and somebody actually wrote an article about how crouching above somebody in a game is the equivalent to sexual assault. So not gonna get into that, but it is a bit silly in my opinion. So I will have to say it's salty though. If somebody took it to that level to think that was that serious of an engagement, and this whole community is doing the teabagging, it had to make a spot on the list. So Halo, special place in my heart. You made it on this toxicity list just for the simple pressing B over and over again above your dead enemy's corpse. Now, there's kind of a debate whether developers should do more or less to, kind of get rid of the toxicity with like bans or just like perma-muting people so they can't talk, things of that nature. Personally, I think they need to leave it in. I mean, it's kind of part of character building. If you're not getting bullied at school, you gotta get bullied at home and get home to try to relax and play some video games by some 18-year-olds who think you're bad and are causing the team to lose. For example, I remember playing on my brother's account on the MW2 games lobby, and my gamer tag was Scumslayer, and these kids that were probably 18 to 22 were like, Scumslayer? More like Cumslayer. Got him! And I didn't know what cum was back then.
Welcome to the cum zone.
The point I'm trying to make is that with the toxicity, you become a man, it builds character, and they should definitely leave it in. Whether or not this is an actual opinion, I'm not going to say. I want your opinions on what do you think they should do about toxicity in video games. And if you did like this video, leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to see more, you're welcome to join my den at any time. This has been Phen. Welcome to my den, and I will see you next time.